It's the 27th of March, and this is my second upload for today. And the topic of this upload is basically mental resilience. As a member of the fellowship since 2006 and as a recovering victim of human rights violations and hate crime, I'm going to discuss a little bit about the topic mental resilience. Recovery for any individual is not easy. Overcoming one's defects of character and wrongdoings aren't easy, and we all have defects of character. Um, the history of my experience in this community as a victim of hate crime is pretty much clarified now in the previous uploads. In this upload, the issue of mental health is my concern for these future uploads, as well as the issue of physical well-being, all due to these human rights violations that have been perpetrated against me. Um, Basically, the issue of individuals that have thought it necessary to defame my character as a teacher based on falsehoods has affected, as I've mentioned, my hierarchy of needs. The other aspects of my livelihood and my rights that have been affected have been my property rights, my family rights, my financial rights, my marital rights, my privacy rights, my medical rights, my legal rights. People have thought it tactical to defame and proclaim falsehoods that are completely inaccurate and untrue. This has been easy for them simply because of the manner of isolation that they've imposed, and also the tactic of withholding information from me that I'm entitled to be informed of. So basically, this matter of human rights violations and all the wrongdoings involved that I've mentioned have had a very serious effect on my family life and my professional life in particular. The issue of recovery, be it from addiction or be it from an obstacle or challenge that individuals decide to impose simply for their own agendas or purposes, isn't always easy to overcome. So the training that recovery involves is not only time consuming and also experiential, but also invaluable when confronted with circumstances such as this. Identity theft, financial theft, property theft, family theft, etc., 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 are not easy to confront when it's a case of a collective perpetrating these kind of situations that are unlawful and are unjustifiable and irrational. So this matter that I'm discussing with regard to mental resilience isn't just about recovery from an addiction. It's not just about recovery from a life challenge or obstacle. It's recovery from physical and health matters that have not been treated as all European citizens or all world citizens are entitled to be treated or provided with the care that they require. It's quite challenging when a collective group of people decide to defame and shame for no justifiable reason except for their own gain. It's quite challenging when people destroy a woman's hierarchy of needs and family life. And the issue of obstructing justice and preventing assistance that is required in rectifying wrongdoings that are perpetrated is the most challenging issue. Since these offences were perpetrated against me, the matters have worsened. The services and agencies with an obligation and duty and responsibility to rectify the wrongdoings have been prevented, to assist the individuals that are imposing isolation, restrictions, confinements, financial abuse, etc., etc., etc. As a teacher, this is quite shocking, not just as a educational teacher, a curricular teacher, but as a spiritual teacher, for people to thieve and damage the identity of another human being is quite frightening. In this community, since 2017, my spiritual light body, as I've mentioned, and my spiritual purpose were damaged and exploited unlawfully, unethically, and unjustifiably. The gifts, light, and blessings on my purpose and path of attainment were so severely damaged that there has been um, detrimental physical harm caused also. This has not been treated or acknowledged, and this is a part of the human rights violations in this issue. Um, as regards health and well-being and recovery from physical ill practice or malpractice, and as regards the issue of recovery from other people's agendas, obstructing justice and obstructing rights being respected, the issue of mental resilience can't be stressed enough. Um, this idea of mental health in 2020 being a priority, and with the PR stunts and the publications with regards to mental well-being, is a huge concern when people especially are being victimized and violated. The idea of hate crime is not easy for any person to be confronting, and the idea of professionals to be facilitating hate crime, especially when it involves 28 human rights violations, is even it's unfathomable how it could be ignored. But that is what has happened. And in this situation, there has been information, as I've mentioned, withheld from me that I have sought. There have been matters discussed without my involvement that have involved my purpose and my rights. So the mental health institutions that have been imposing and assessing and misdiagnosing have facilitated an awful failure in society. The individuals that think that by withholding and falsifying and wronging a light worker that has a very evident presence in a community, that have defamed and that have misinformed regarding the source of the gifts and blessings in this community that are apparent, have, as far as I'm concerned, disrespected not just human rights but spirituality. And as a member of recovery since over a decade ago, the only advice that I have for people that are perpetrating injustice and defaming is to prioritize self-care and to prioritize emotional well-being. Um, I have started a page on Facebook with regards to harmony and recovery, and I'll be working from those Facebook pages with updates and shares for members of recovery from violations and victimization and hate crime, for the knowledge of those that have suffered or are suffering from other people's issues and other people's wrongdoings. So for this upload, the main message is well-being, all aspects of self-care for recovery from incidents and obstacles and injustice that involve hate crime and human rights violations, and the issue of mental resilience that people require when confronted by a collective and premeditated, orchestrated vendetta of hate crime will hopefully be of help. So I'll keep these uploads short and sweet, and I'll be uploading shares on my Facebook pages for people that are suffering or recovering from other people's mental health issues.